Good first raid. Here are my honest thoughts on like the post nerf. I'm very surprised they did post nerf for tier 4 because for tier 4, it was not really an issue. I think Blizzard's concern is that people are gonna quit the game because they're gonna die because they like can't clear the content. Their raids are gonna die. And I think it's a little bit absurd to have like that little faith in people's like mental fortitude and also that little faith in people's skills in video games. But on the other hand, I have played since this pre-patch for this new anniversary run. The average skill level of player right now in Burning Crusade has gone down so much. It is insane. I think the boost actually does have a lot to do with it. It's kind of crazy because last Burning Crusade, I went from being a boost hater to being pro boost. When I'm saying boost, I'm talking about the paid level 58 boost that you can have to start at level 58. I believe last time around, whenever the boost was implemented in the game, a lot of people came back into the game to boost. Either they had been playing actively and they were experienced WoW players so they could learn another class, or there were people that came back into WoW who weren't playing vanilla, but boosted their main class so they knew what they were doing. They became accustomed to it very quickly. I did not notice like a severe skill drop or like a severe skill gap. Now, it's so different. I think there's a massive influx of new players in a Burning Crusade right now that have never played, and I think they boosted to level 58 without leveling at all. Now, this was always my recommendation. If you've never played WoW, you should level so you can learn the basics of your class while you're playing the game. That's kind of what it is. Like the leveling process is like a tutorial almost. And then you get to max level, and that's like when the real game begins. Depends on who you are. A lot of people play the game differently. Some people like to level, and that's all they like to do, and that's fine. That's one of the great things about WoW and the great things about well-designed MMOs is people can play the game in so many different ways and enjoy the game in so many different ways. That's what makes them great. That is like the more traditional way to play it. It's like you level, you learn your character, and then at max level, that's your thing. You know, you raid, you do PvP, all that kind of stuff. I do think that the boost did actually make a negative impact from that regard this time around. So maybe the consideration of doing some things post-nerf, I think is fine. However, you see how hard heroic dungeons are? Compare that to how easy a Karazhan is, how easy Gruul's is. The way pre-nerf Magtheridon was, I can understand the argument of it is almost kind of stupid. The way the clicking is done in pre-nerf Magtheridon, I understand people thinking it is actually too complicated. If that's your argument, I'm like, you know what? I think that's a fair opinion to have because it does take so much longer to set up and all that. The rest of Magtheridon, not so bad. For the most part, Magtheridon felt about right still. Gruul's lair. Gruul's, on the other hand, is a cakewalk, especially High King Malgar. I would really like to see them modify and make specific changes to the bosses to where they're not necessarily harder. It's not about making it hard. It's about making it more like making it mean something. How many times did you see people watching, typing in chat, whatever, where the explanation takes longer? Like, hey, these are the mechanics and you're explaining the fight. The explanation takes longer than the boss fight itself, or at least like equal. It kind of makes sense because if the boss fight is explained well, people, you know, they fully understand what's going on and they're well prepared going into it, then of course it's gonna take longer than the actual content itself. That's a reasonable thing to expect. Now, for some people, the loot is what makes it worth your time. But what happens once you have the loot? What happens once you have the gear? Then people are like, eh, and they end up not doing it anymore. So I would like to see like small little changes made. Like I think the nerf to the shatter mechanic in post-nerf Gruul is too high. Candidly, at one point I got Cassie accidentally blinked onto me and we were standing like this on the shatter. She blinked right before the shatter and we should have died. I feel like that is like such a big mistake that like, yeah, you deserve to die for that. You know, standing that close to one another. Now, if you want to say the shatter damage was too much before, that's fair. But I think the nerf was also too much and you take way too little damage. That's just how it is, right? And sometimes people just make mistakes. Calling me out. No, I'm just saying, I'm just giving an explanation, right, of what happened. I think that the first fight in Gruul's High King Malgar, the whirlwind lasts so long that it makes the fight so boring because that whirlwind happens and it's still a lot of damage, but all the melee run out. I don't get to do anything on that fight. Like I had a flashback where I remembered, oh my gosh, I remember post-nerf Malgar and like as Burning Crusade went on, I was like, yeah, I never did anything on this boss. I was just like, okay, it just dies during the whirlwind. If the whirlwind were to happen more frequently but be much shorter, I think that's fine. You could have it be even the same amount of total time, but just run out and run back in. Like, give me something to do, because it's just lame. Like, even the same damage, same armor, all that. Maybe you could increase the health a little bit so the fight's a little bit longer. Just a hair, right? Like if you give it like a 10% health buff, I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out there. right? Let's say you give it 10% more health. And then you change the whirlwind mechanic to be shorter, but more frequent. It whirlwinds for like 4 seconds or something. I don't know how long, it's super long. Like it's so long that I'm like, whatever. I just don't even pay attention to that fight. But if it was like 4 seconds or 5 seconds or something like that, and then you run back in. You know, you see what I'm saying? I think that would make it more enjoyable than just kind of like everything just falling over like that, right? The next thing, Maiden of Virtue kind of just falls over. Morose kind of just falls over. Like I think just some of these fights should be pre-nerf. Like Morose is kind of just falls over. Like it's like I was like AoE tanking all the ads. I'm pre-raid. I had tier 4 tank legs, but I was pre-raid. You know, I didn't get much this week. I got the neck, which is nice, and then I got offset piece for tanking, which is good because that helps our raid group, because I was tanking like half the Karazhan. I would really like to see them do some things to make the fights, because man, we are in pre-raid gear and we just waltz through it for the most part. Like Gruul has an insane health nerf post-nerf. The beginning of Burning Crusade is supposed to be very introductory to a lot of people. And you want to get people excited for the later content and the 25-man content that's going to come with SSE and Tempest Keep. That's like where the real juice is. You want to have like a proper introduction to these players to where, hey, learn how to do mechanics and understand what mechanics really are. Because then what happens come next phase, it's like you're learning to play the game again, because you just didn't really play the game in the first phase. I do think they should consider making these small little design changes like that, because I do think a lot of people, that is already the feedback I've gotten from a lot of people, that it is incredibly easy. It is not as easy as it was on the PTR. On the PTR, nothing had armor, and it was an absolute joke. Now, I don't think it's as bad as it was on PTR, but I do think that you gotta account for the times. You gotta modify and tweak things in the same vein of what the design of Classic WoW is. This is the design of Burning Crusade. Was Karazhan pre-nerf in 2021? Because I felt like that was a better difficulty than it is now. It was pre-nerf in 2021. And you know what's funny? Back in 2021, if you guys were playing back then, you remember, people thought that it was post-nerf then. People were like, wait, did they put this out post-nerf? People thought it was like bugged. People thought it was wrong. And then Blizzard came out and confirmed, like, no, it is pre-nerf. Yeah, like pre-nerf was still easy. That's why, to me, it's so surprising that they decided to do a post-nerf Karazhan, because Karazhan never seemed to be a problem. Now, there's arguments to be made about post-nerf SSC and Tempest Keep, because there was a lot of guilds stuck at 8 out of 10 for a long time. However, my personal opinion, that is part of the game. Not everybody is going to get to do every piece of content before the next piece of content comes out. That's fine. That is an acceptable thing. Not every guild, not every raid gets to complete every single piece of content in one patch before the next one. That is a retail WoW mentality that is, I think, kind of poisoned the game design philosophy of things that they've changed in Classic WoW. Because in retail WoW, you don't play a patch. You play in that patch that you play in retail WoW, the same level of power creep as you would get in an entire expansion. Conceptually, the Maiden of Virtue fight is very cool. And yes, I know there's not everybody in the world completed it. I understand that. But it is so damn good. For all those people that did complete it, imagine you complete it in a way that it's like, oh, hey, Repentance is going out. Run into the Consecrate. You run in, Repentance, boom, it breaks. I'm a paladin, blessing of sacrifice, Repentance, boom, sack breaks the Repentance. Like you can see the vision that Blizzard had whenever they created Karazhan, whenever they created the Burning Crusade raids, especially the early ones. They approached the game with a holistic approach. Like they're looking at the whole thing. They're designing mechanics around introducing people to something like Arena, the Morose fight, Malgar, right? There's 5 guys in the encounter. They represent the other classes. Oh, one has a polymorph, one has a mana burn, one does this, one does that. Abilities that players have. So they're making players who are doing the raids accustomed to these different things that you also experience in PvP. So they're trying to make the game, hey, let's loop everything into one another. And hey, if you do this, sprinkle in some things that prepare you to do another type of content and that keeps you in the ecosystem of the game. It's actually incredible design. And I really, really believe this. I think it's a disservice to the players whenever you re-release the game in such a way that disrespects the design of the original game as much too. Because one, this thing that was originally created was so incredible, at least by the intention of it. And yes, everybody knows everything. Oh, it's this 20-year-old game. Oh, then why was it so damn fun when we played on private servers whenever they did all these things that I talk about? Whenever they account for the times. They don't make a bunch of changes. They account for the times. They're not building a whole new game. I mean, now sure, there's other stuff, right? But I'm talking about like the OG. The reason why we have Classic WoW today. The reason why we have Classic WoW today is because of the concept of patch progressive Blizz-like private servers. I'm talking like the days of Nostalrius, which led to Elysium, which led to Light's Hope and Northdale. And that's what was so damn good. That's why we have this in the first place. That's where it came from. What can we learn from that and say, why did people like this so much? Two reasons. One, the original game was so damn good. Two, they re-released a version of the game that accounted for the times, and they were very quick to make the changes and stuff that they needed to in order to have the community have as much fun as they can. When I came back and I started playing on private servers years ago, before the days of Classic WoW, before I started streaming, I started playing, I said I'm gonna play for 2 weeks and I'm gone. Next thing you know, I'm making videos. I started streaming because I ran out of hard drive space and I just want to stream my raids. Then I'm the rep paladin guy, me and Drakova. Then I'm the classic WoW guy. Next thing you know, I'm like freaking waving the flag, leading the charge for classic WoW for the next 2 years. It all started with me realizing I grew up with WoW. WoW was a big part of my life. It was a big part of my identity, even years after I was done playing the game. But what I realized is I was having more fun than I ever had playing WoW when I was now a grown adult. I was smarter, I was better at games, I had better equipment, I had all these other things available to me. I had more time than when I had whenever I was a kid. It's incredible because now it's like, oh, now I understand the game. Oh wait, I see why this is fun. I understand what they did now. I didn't even know about this back in the day. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I can do this, I can do that. Incredible. I really wish somebody at Blizzard just let somebody come in and just let them twist some knobs, you know, tweak some of the sliders a little bit. You have a masterpiece on your hands. There's a reason why this is the most, like, one of the most iconic games of all time. Like, this should be in a freaking museum. Let someone do the damn job right. Somebody who understands the game like the back of their hand. The true design of what makes Classic good. Because I think people are gonna have a really good time. And now, I wanna be very clear. I'm not trying to be a doomer here. Actually, I'm not being a doomer. I had a great time tonight. I had fun. My fear, my worry, my concerns come from where? For the health of the game. I don't think like this phase one, the way the phase one is today does not stand the test of time for the next, what, two and a half months. We'll probably get SSC Tempest Keep. My guess is roughly towards the end of April. Maybe May. I actually think they did do something. I'm almost convinced. I don't ever remember seeing that Infernal drop there. It probably has, and I just don't remember it. But I specifically remember back in the day, quote, 5 years ago, whenever we did Malkazar, I remember the reason why we tank him in the spot we do is not just because of Cubby, but there was like some presumption that the Infernals never drop on this side. They almost always drop on the other side. So I do think they made a change to that fight in order to randomize it a little bit more. That's crazy. I never actually seen the Infernal land there.
That was the most unlucky.
I've never seen it land there.
Infernal I've ever seen.
It dropped on us in the last 20 seconds or so too. Yeah. So I think they did change something. They're letting them do it. I know there's things they're changing because under the hood, like they're always changing stuff that people have no idea about. So just, I know you can do it. Just do it right. They didn't change it all, it's all RNG. Maybe I'm wrong, but I definitely remember that being a thing where everybody was never worried about it dropping. They're like, oh no, if you just stand here, it'll never drop. Super random thing to change. Well, I don't think it's that random to change it because I do think it heavily trivializes the final boss of Karazhan whenever you can just cheese it like that. And I think that's a very good change. That they were like, okay, you can just do something and ignore the mechanic essentially. It's kind of dumb. Yeah, and the fact that it dropped in that same spot twice, like, okay. I think they did change something. Especially like, I'm hearing from other people that it was getting dropped in like weird spots too. I felt like it was purposefully boxing us in. It was almost like a scripted event. Honestly, it was good. Like, did you guys feel the duress? I felt under duress. Whenever we were doing Malkazar, I was like, oh, eyes are wide open. I'm like, oh God, what's happening? Boom, Infernal drops. Boom, Infernal drops. Freaking, you got our Bear Druid, our tanks in there like, guys, look at me. Like, oh, look at these Infernals. What are these Infernals? Boom, another one drops behind him. Oh no, I gotta move him. You got all the range, all the casters, their backs are up against the wall and they're like, oh God, we're gonna get Shadow Nova. Oh no. Like, that is sick, man. That is so freaking cool. Like, stuff like that is so damn good. Like, It bothers me, man. It bothers me whenever like you have these great ideas and you have like cool mechanics happening and they get totally ignored. And it's like, man, you have this masterpiece of a video game. You just don't give it the respect it deserves. It ends up not giving the players the respect they deserve to really enjoy something that's so good. You know what I mean? I remember doing that fight in original TBC and it 100% could not drop there. Yeah. I really hope Blizzard takes a hard look at the way that they're approaching this stuff and does the things they need to do for the health of the game as a whole and keeping things interesting for more people for longer. People want to get gear. People want to do damage. People want to do big numbers, big heals. They want to take a lot of damage as a tank or not take a lot of damage. They want to avoid a lot of damage as a tank. All these things. It's cool. These are all cool things. But does that mean anything if you're not ever hitting your buttons? Look at all these buttons I got. I got buttons out the wazoo, okay? Look at this, look at all these buttons. Boom, 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 boom. Look at all these buttons. I got buttons on buttons, dude. Let me press my buttons. It's cool. I wanna play my class. I wanna play the game. At a certain point, you run out of loot to get because you're killing all these bosses, sure. Make the bosses easier to kill. That's fine. You know what? You've already done that. That's what you're gonna do. You're dead set on it. You don't wanna withhold people from getting their loot. But how about whenever people have the gear, have the loot, they can actually use it, at least in the raids, because you have PvP, and PvP is amazing right now. They're not thinking about the longevity of the phase. They want people to finish it ASAP so they can go play midnight. The tinfoil hat is put on. What if getting all these people into Burning Crusade was just a ploy to get them to play midnight in 2 weeks? Oh. My tinfoil hat. Oh. Also, yeah, midnight's probably gonna be great. Housing is actually sick, guys. To be honest, I'm gonna keep it real. Housing is actually sick. We can play both, you know? I do hope you guys enjoyed the raid. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed the videos. And if you guys are new here, make sure to follow, subscribe, like, all that stuff, right? Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Chat, guys. I love Classic WoW. I really do. I love Classic WoW. And it is incredible.